Hi, my name is Rick Higgins, and I, like everybody else, have fear inside of me, but my fear almost killed me. Literally, it almost killed me. So I need to warn you now, the title of this story and this whole lead up isn't meant to capture your attention. It is a very dark and sad story, and I'll warn you now, you're not going to like it. Really quickly, every story needs to set up with something, and I'm going to set it up with my growing up as a wee child. I grew up rather poor, lower middle class, barely we were hoping to be lower middle class, son of a blue-collar worker. I never knew we were struggling. I never knew that we had money issues. It was just the way I lived. But, and I don't know if this is a father-son thing, but my dad always drilled into me the need for financial security. He always constantly told me over and over and over that he wanted me to achieve more, have more, be more secure than he. And when you get preached that at a young age, it sticks. Which brings us to the sad part of this story, and I have to sort of start it with, yeah, I did follow my father's advice. I rose up very high into the IT world, senior management, all kinds of people working under me. I had stock options. I had my retirement funds locked away in corporate. Well, I worked for WorldCom, and if you remember what happened back in those days, I got WorldCommed. I lost everything. All the money, everything that I possibly could have, all my financial security was just poof, gone in an instant. And because it was the Great Recession and the dot-com bubble bursting, I couldn't find a job. I couldn't find a job for the better part of a year. You can only last so long on savings and credit cards. And I got to the point where I had nothing except this voice in my head saying, you've got to provide for your family. You've got to have financial security. And that's when I came up with the plan. And the plan was that if I couldn't provide for my family by traditional work, then I was going to provide by my family by anything else I could possibly come up with. And that solution was suicide. I had done a lot of research. I had planned meticulously what else was I going to do. I was unemployed. Every last detail of how I was going to do it, where I was going to do it, all the notes that I was going to leave, how I was going to say goodbye, where they would find my body, and I did significant amounts of research into making sure the insurance company was going to pay off. I had a date, I had a time, and less than a week before that was going to happen, I got a phone call. A job offer, a temporary job offer that was going to require me to commute 200 miles a day. But it was enough to finally get into my head that maybe what I was planning wasn't the right thing, that maybe financial security wasn't all that mattered. But the thing was, that lesson didn't stick. It just made me more afraid. I had come so close to doing something all in the name of good, but the thing was bad, that it just sort of reinforced to me that financial security was all that mattered. And that was what I have taken to, well, to my almost now, to my very recently, that's all I have ever chased is financial security. Now I kind of started chasing something else. Which leads you and I and everybody else to a traditional retirement, whatever the hell that means. I assume with all that financial security, basically we get to the point where we can live somewhat comfortably in our homes until, well, they carry us out feet first. But to me, that's not retirement. That's just kind of slow death. So I had to make a decision. You too are probably in a position where you might need to make a decision as well. And for me, it was, am I going to let fear continue to guide me, or am I going to let fear control me? And so I had made a video on this, by the way, links below. Basically, I decided to take half of what I have saved, which I don't know, was not unsubstantial, but it certainly wasn't enough to keep me going for the rest of my days. And I'm going to try something new. Yeah, it's 60 years old. I'm going to go try for a new career. I'm going to fulfill my dream of learning to speak, and I'm also going to fulfill my dream of traveling around the world, of exploring. That's how my entire life started, was back in the day with wanting to become a traveler. And this is how I'm going to live the rest of my days, is as a traveler. So where does that leave us boys and girls of a certain age? Well, if you look anything like me, you are probably facing this decision soon, or you very much soon are going to. And that's, what do you do with the rest of your life? Do you have enough saved up? Does money even come into play? Do you have other safeguards? Are there dreams that you have that are unfulfilled? And how can you balance all of those? It's not an either or, black or white, zero-sum equation. You've got to figure out what's best for you. And you got to have the bravery. You got to be able to stand up and say, I want this, or at least part of this, and I'm willing to take a little bit of risk in order to get it. As far as how that means for you personally, well, that's personal. Each of us had to make that decision. I'm making a rather large one, but it's one that I'm very comfortable with, and one that I can't wait to get started. And with that, be healthy, be happy, and we're going to see you real soon.